Now, in the eyes of many, California is, of course, a wine country, producing amongst the world's best Cabernets, Chardonnays or Pinot Noirs. To others, though, the hills produce these fine beverages. They're also home to Blue Widow or Cinderella 99. Talking now, not about wine, but about cannabis. Now, in 2016 alone, the cannabis business represented more than $2 billion in California, and the state produces around half of all the cannabis sold throughout the country. So after the severe fires that hit the region, how has production been affected? Well, France 24's Gallagher Fenwick reports.
This drive and the sight of the devastation breaks her heart. Kimberly Tate is one of California's many cannabis growers whose crops were affected by the fires. The blaze spared her home, but it prevented her from having access to her property for days. Her plants did not get any water. The ash that fell from the sky has covered some of their leaves. Kimberly fears she has lost the cannabis whose medicinal properties she lauds.
So that's a lot of what I want to do, is get some strains that are high in that so that we can treat people with PTSD, which will be a lot of those after this fire. People up here, but I was thinking more like veterans, but now I'll have neighbors who need it.
After having been the first state to legalize medical cannabis, California recently allowed its recreational use. Nonetheless, according to Kimberly, growing it out here remains complicated. She tells us fires
they're gone.
Are just one more challenge.
My seeds, I can start again. I've been through this before when we got raided, where they just, even though we had permits and we're doing the right thing, it didn't matter. They got cut down and all my genetics got destroyed that time as well. And that was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So I've been through this before, and I still have some seeds, and we'll start again.
The disaster that consumed thousands of acres shed light on the predicament of the cannabis community. Ron Edwards is one of its more outspoken members. He gained his reputation as a grower by breeding popular strains like Blue Widow. His operation has been a secretive one for years, and it was no coincidence he ended up in the hills of Northern California.
It's remote, it's poor as far as what the government has for resources. So you've got thousands of miles of area and a small sheriff department.
Ron wants this craft to come out of the woods and gain recognition like other forms of agriculture. He believes that will reduce the risks involved in growing and selling cannabis. Progress has been made on that front. But the nursery owner complains that he is still not treated fairly, especially when it comes to dealing with hazards like fire.
The water board says we can't clear cut around here. You cannot remove trees to cultivate cannabis. So that in fact that those rules do make it more difficult because there is no way to defend this space.
As a result of these challenges, solidarity has been growing in the community, according to Patrick King. This cannabis enthusiast and soil specialist has been leading local recovery efforts. He collects donations and even uses his greenhouse
Don't want to hurt him.
to host exotic animals saved from the fires. It's harvesting season for cannabis, so Patrick explains that he is also providing help with that.
So we're supporting our cannabis community right now by giving them the tools to get out there to the farmers. If somebody needs tools, they don't have money, of course we're sharing that as well too. We have a rental center, we rent trim machines. We have labor that can help you with all of your harvesting right now if you're in need.
Solidarity and flexibility make a big difference these days for growers like Kimberly.
Aren't they adorable? Goats. Micah. It's going good. No worries, we're at the fairgrounds. Do you still want to meet up?
She is eager to meet with her distributor
So they'll take this and they'll sell
to
this
hand over
for-
the harvest she salvaged.
We're just being-
Kimberly's contact is a cannabis processing and resale center. It operates on grounds once occupied by a winery. Flocana prides itself on its close relationships with its partners in business.
Anything that we can do to help reduce the harms to come to the farmer economically because of the fire, we want to do that. So that includes making sure that as much of their product as possible has a way to market, that the product doesn't spoil or go bad or go dry in the time that they're not able to tend to it. So any of those kind of triage support services that we can provide now, we want to provide.
Unlike their counterparts in the wine industry, most cannabis farmers are not insured because their crop remains illegal under federal law. There are no exact figures as of yet on the losses in the fires. There are also many charred vineyards, but those businesses will likely recover faster than their controversial neighbors.
California.